As the Nationals need a power influx into their lineup immediately, I know just the fix, and guys, it's time to call up James Wood.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Clare. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClaire11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And while you're at it, make sure to search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, including over on YouTube. Hit that subscriber button for me as well, where it is your team every day, as we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Later on in today's show, we'll be previewing the Nationals heading up to Boston, shipping up to Boston, whatever you want to say for that, as they get ready to take on the Red Sox, going up to Fenway Park. Always a fun time. So this will be a nice little 3-game series, as you have Patrick Corbin on the bump tonight. That's a little bit scary. But after this, Jake Irvin and MacKenzie Gore. We'll have that preview for you later on in the show today. Then in the second segment, it is a Friday. This is a new staple for the Locked On Nationals podcast, the Nationals Prospect Stock Report. Who's been up, who's been down, who's been hot, who's been not. That is where you'll get your latest individual performances from the prospects down on the farm. So let's start off here, though, because again, this is going to be a prospect-heavy show, as the Nationals, they need help in this lineup, and I know just the fix. It's James Wood. It's time. Everybody, it is time. Your top 10 prospect in all of baseball, James Wood, the time is now to bring him up, start him in the major leagues, and get him going. Because I don't know if people are aware at this moment in time, but James Wood and what he has been doing so far this season, number one, has been the biggest dream if you're a not Nationals fan. And even if you're part of the Nationals organization, I don't think many people were expecting James Wood to really kind of lift off the way that he has so far in AAA. He killed the ball down in spring training, as we saw his stats. They were incredible. But now the dream is starting to become a little bit more of a reality. This big guy who could hit home runs at any given moment. Someone who hit 4 home runs against major league talent down in spring training. Someone had a 12-13 OPS in spring training in 57 plate appearances. Now he's doing the job over at AAA. As James Wood has matured, one thing has stood clear. The guy could be a 5-tool talent. If you have him down in the majors at this point, there really is nothing to do with him down in AAA. Let me kind of reiterate this point. The service time of him kind of burning a year of service time is past. He would be a free agent after 2030, and this year would not count against him, meaning that James Wood could still go into the next 7 years for this organization in order to help us win baseball games. James Wood, at this moment, should be a major leaguer. Now, what is holding the Nationals back at this point? Well, they said, not really what they've said, but I think you can kind of take it for granted here that he was struggling against left-handed pitching. Well, in last night's ball game, left-handed pitch, going up off speed, he crushed it. 400-plus feet, home run, and it just feels as if the time is to call him up at this moment. That is what it's kind of feeling like at this point. Now, going forward, I don't know what the Nationals will do. But here's one thing that I can actually agree with the organization with, is that they are taking their time with him. I did not want to see James Wood on the opening day lineup, even after he killed the baseball down in spring training. Just because you kill the baseball in spring training doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to go. Jordan Walker last year, I like to use him as an example. Another big-time prospect, a top 10 prospect, killed the ball in spring training in 2023 with the Cardinals, made the opening day roster, struggled mightily, and then got sent down, got brought back up, but still he struggled, and now he is back down in AAA again, still struggling. I don't want that to happen with James Wood. This is way too prize of a prospect, and again, the Nationals' trajectory is way up right now. I've seen some people argue this, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but it is certainly an argument, that why would you call up James Wood right now with everything going the Nationals' way? Wouldn't you kind of want to have that ace up your sleeve a little bit in a sense and kind of have him called up when the time is ready, when he is ready, when all things considered are looking good? Because right now, I feel like this Nationals team, as they sit at 500, and as you're right in the wild card hunt, if you were to add James Wood to this lineup, how much better does it make your team? How much better does it make your offense at this point? And also, where does he fit in the puzzle? Is he going to knock out Jacob Young? Maybe. But more than likely, he'll be knocking out Jesse Winker, Eddie Rosario at bats. And of course, when Lane Thomas comes back, he'll fit in that lineup just as well. So going forward, I don't necessarily think that this is a move that has to be made right now. But if the point is that he's not ready, well, that's just not true. James Wood is ready, and the numbers don't lie at this point. Batting .344 on the season, a 995 OPS, and again, he's doing this with 5 home runs in the season, and even then, his exit velocity would be top 10 in all of baseball right now, just behind Juan Soto. You can't help but just kind of dream about what this kid's going to become once he reaches the major leagues. And also, he just turned 21 years old. James Wood is ready. The fact is, he should be in the major leagues right now. Now, kind of going forward, I don't necessarily think that James Wood should be this big, ultimatum, kind of game-changing prospect. But at the end of the day, but looking at the facts of it right now, James Wood really should be up in the major leagues. Now, looking at the national schedule, though, because this is kind of when I feel like the Nationals should call him up. But if you look at the schedule, they're going to be on the road here for the next week or so. But going forward, I believe on May 20th, and I have the schedule pulled up right here, right now. The Nationals, they'll be going against the Minnesota Twins on Monday, May 20th. That is when they are back in town next. I fully expect James Wood to be making his major league debut in that series on a Monday, May 20th, middle of May. And also, not even to mention, you know who else made their debut in May? Juan Soto. I'm not saying he's going to be Juan Soto, but still, the hype around him right now has exceeded what Juan Soto was back in the day. Now, if you look at the numbers, they're relatively similar, but still, Juan Soto was rushed up to the major leagues as a 19-year-old. The Nationals, they aren't afraid to put 19-year-olds up in Major League Baseball. They've done it with Bryce Harper. They've done it with Juan Soto. They've done it with other guys as well. Luis Garcia back when he was 19, 20 years old in the 2020 season. They're not afraid to bring guys up if they feel as if they are ready. But at this point, you got to think that the Nationals think James Wood is ready as well. He's cut his strikeout rate down. He's starting to hit for power a little bit more nowadays. All the things considered, he is starting to be a 5-tool talent. And the way he runs the bases, the way he plays center field, all the different things about James Wood right now, it screams that he is major league ready. So what are they waiting for? What is there to wait for at this point? That, I think, is the overwhelming question. And I think until the Nationals pull the trigger and move him up into the majors and have him make his debut at Nationals Park against Minnesota Twins, I think that's going to be the big overwhelming question and topic over the next few weeks here, because it feels as if James Wood is ready now. It feels as if the Nationals are ready to make a move now, and they should be, by the way. This is a huge prospect who is ready to make a jump. And of course, this Nationals team, the way that they are competing right now, you can't tell me that he wouldn't be the second best hitter in this lineup behind C.J. Abrams at this point. You can't. There's no one more consistent than C.J. Abrams up to this point in the 2023 or 2024 campaign. But James Wood, adding him to this lineup, that's your second best hitter off the bat, in my opinion. And of course, you need power. Because again, this Nationals team, they're in the bottom third for slugging. They're in the bottom third for home runs. I know someone who can help you out with that, and his name is James Wood, a 6'7" prospect, potential 5-tool talent. And the Nationals, they got to make the call, hopefully pretty soon here. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on Twitter. Just search Locked On Nationals there, or find myself over on Twitter at Ryan Clary 11. And while you're at it, search Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcast. Again, Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcast, including over on YouTube. Hit that subscriber button for me as well. Next, we will get into a national stock report, prospect stock report, rather, as we will be giving you a stock up for all the big guns down in the minors. But even more so than that, who are some of the other guys who haven't really been getting so much light? Who's been up? Who's been down? We'll discuss that. But of course, we got to pause right here and tell you guys about some of our friends over at Stitch Fix. And guys, you know that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget, and they do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. You can easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. And of course, my stylist, he always sends just right pieces and the fit is on point. And it's just like having styles ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. And of course, I want you guys to feel the same way, because if you're going out in the summer, it's t-shirt season, it's polo shirt season. Our people over at Stitch Fix, they've got you covered. So style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB must redeem within 7 days of sign up. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals there, and that is where you'll find your daily video content of the Washington Nationals. But before we get into it, we got to talk about the Nationals prospects, as they have been on fire recently. So we start with a stock up for the guy we just talked about in this first segment, James Wood. Over his last 5 games, he's got 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, only 4 strikeouts. He's got a 1056 slug, a 1556 OPS. He's batting .444. The kid is ready for the major leagues. A stock up for James Wood. We just talked about him for the first 10 minutes of today's show, why he is ready to make this jump up into the majors. And it's because of, number one, his strikeout rate is all the way down from what it was in last year, because he did strike out a lot, especially once he got that promotion up to AA Harrisburg. But this season in AAA, a higher level, he's matured over the offseason. You've seen the power really grow immensely. James Wood is ready. This is someone who is going to make an impact at Nationals Park probably within the next month or so. He'll be inserted in the lineup, be your 3, 4, 5 hitter maybe. I don't know where they will put him at this point, but he'll be in the middle of the lineup. He'll be hitting bombs, and he'll be helping the team win baseball games in a time where, they need to win baseball games. This is a competitive team right now, so you have to start acting like it. If the Nationals, if this was 2019, for instance, or 2018, back when Juan Soto was called up, he would already be in the majors. He would probably start opening day up in the major leagues already. But we know that's not the case, and of course, James Wood is checking all the boxes for a prospect. You want to see him do well. You want to see this team do well, and you want to see the organization do well. So it starts with calling James Wood up to the major league. So that is why, of course, he gets the stock up in day 1 of the stock report. So we'll have more on James Wood as the weeks go by. But next, stock down for DJ Hers. I'm a believer in DJ Hers. One of the better changeups in minor league baseball. We saw that on display in spring training. So far this season, though, at AAA Rochester, it has not been a good time to be DJ Hers. Over his last 3 starts, he's got a combined 8 1/3 innings pitched. Forget that, though. Forget the earned runs. Forget the strikeouts. Forget the hits. He has walked 16 batters in that time frame as well. DJ Hers, he's a starting pitcher right now, but that's not what he's going to be, in my opinion, once he reaches the majors. You've seen Mitchell Parker. Mitchell Parker was obviously a starter right now, was a starter down in the minors. He sort of had similar struggles where he was walking way too many guys ever to make the jump to the majors, even just last year. Something has clicked since then. He's only walked, I believe, 5 batters through his first few starts up in the majors. That's ridiculous. That's something that he probably never did down in the minor leagues. But DJ Hers at this point is looking like a relief guy. He's looking like someone who might be a long relief guy, which is still a role that he could play, or he'll be an effective bullpen arm. I just don't think at this point that you can continue to walk the guys at which you have done over your career and be a starting pitcher. It's just not going to work out like that. And even in spring training, you saw it. He's nasty. His changeup, again, is filthy. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be walking 16 guys over 8 innings pitched, that's not going to get the job done. Hell, it's not going to get the job done even if you're a bullpen guy. So DJ Hurst is going to have to figure out something. They're going to have to get back in the lab with him and figure out what is going on. How are you not finding your command at this point? And at some point, you're going to have to think, is this guy a starting pitcher? Do we want to develop him as that? Or do you want to put him back in the bullpen in a role that he'll play down the line for this team? Because that is where I see him doing best. And also, you only have Jose Ferrer coming back. He's really your left-handed guy. When he is healthy, he'll be up in the majors making an impact. If you have DJ Hurst in the back end of your bullpen too, another lefty who has a filthy changeup, who's got really good stuff, then I think this Nationals team and this bullpen in particular will actually look pretty damn good. But at this point, if you're walking 16 guys in 8 innings, it's no good. Stock up for Yarlin Susana. Down in Fredericksburg, Susana, again, another starting pitcher at this point who, in my opinion, will be your Nationals closer in about 2 to 3 years from now. But we'll see if things get fast-tracked. Maybe he gets a little bit better. But still, he has been very good over his last 2 starts. And really what I look at with him, again, the walk rate. This has killed him over the years. It has killed him since he was with the Padres, coming over to the Nationals. We've seen it struck him early on this season. I believe he had 7 walks over 1 outing just earlier on this season down in Low A Fredericksburg. But over his last 2 starts, he's got a combined 8 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 13 strikeouts, and only 2 walks. That is good. This is the Yarlin Susana that the Nationals wanted. This is the one that they expect to develop. And again, at this point, I don't think the Nationals are considering him a bullpen guy yet. They want to see this guy pitch. It's pretty obvious at this point. They want to see him go out there as a starter. When you throw 102 miles per hour at the age of 19, 20 years old, you're going to get every opportunity that you can to be a starting pitcher. It's just the way that it is. It's the way that baseball is nowadays. I saw someone talking about this the other day. Some guys will just take the guy who throws over 100 miles per hour and who may not have all the best stuff. Susana does. Susana has the best of both worlds, in my opinion. His slider is also a wildly underrated pitch that I think has been a huge kind of catapult into having him strike out a ton of different guys. Obviously, when you're pumping 102 down in Low A, you don't see that every day. You don't see that every day up in the majors either. But Susana and what he has done so far, you're seeing a lot of different good things from this kid. If he can get the walk rate under control, then you're going to see this guy fly through the minor leagues. And again, he's only walked 2 guys over his last 2 starts. Again, that was 8 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, and 13 strikeouts as well. He's got the put away pitches, but unfortunately, you got to be able to do this consistently, which he has over the last 2 starts. So that is why he got to stock up on today's prospect report. Stock down for 2023 4th round pick out of the University of Alabama, Andrew Pinckney. Over his last 6 games, Andrew Pinckney last year, by the way, was a star in the minor leagues. Flew up through the national system, went from rookie ball all the way up to Double-A, and right now he's sitting at Double-A alongside Dylan Cruz, Robert Hassel, Brady House, and all the other big guns down in Double-A. But Andrew Pinckney has really kind of struggled this season. Number one, striking out a little bit more than what I'm comfortable with, but also over his last 6 games, he's not putting the ball in play. He's not taking his walks, and he's not hitting for power, as he's been batting 185, the 185 on base percentage, and a 519 OPS over his last 6 games. He's kind of hit a rut at this point. His numbers really don't look all that great. And also to kind of tag Yohandy Morales along with this as well, Yo-Yo hasn't looked all that great either in Double-A, but that is, again, a top 100 prospect. Yohandy, I think, is going to be a much better prospect than Andrew Pinckney will down the line. He's a much better hitter. This is someone who has got a lot of raw power, hasn't really displayed it at this point. But Andrew Pinckney looked really good last year. And again, there are a lot of different people who were very high on him when the Nationals took him in that 4th round. And Andrew Pinckney, good player, but still, you got to find a way to stay consistent. You got to find a way to kind of level out your performance, because so far this season, it has not been a consistent time for the kid. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, whichever way you look at it, guys will be moving up through the minors. He'll get more opportunities, and maybe he'll be able to dominate just a little bit more. But right now, it's been a slow start for the kid, so you got to feel for him at this point. Stock up for 2021 1st-round pick, Brady House. I've always said this, and I think I do believe it. I think Brady House, I know it might be crazy to say, but this is my hot take in the National system. I think he is the best overall hitter in the Nationals farm system right now. Yes, the 21-year-old, or 20 years old, actually, rather. turning 21 here, I believe, in June. Brady House, over his last 6 games, batting .316, a .480 OBP, a .632 slug, an .1112 OPS. He's got multiple home runs. He's got 2 RBIs. He's got 5 walks to 4 strikeouts in his last 19 at-bats. Brady House is going to start coming on. We talk about James Wood. You talk about Dylan Cruz, but you should not forget about Brady House. This guy, at some point, I think this season, will be a Washington National. I don't think he's going to be really a big jump up the board and maybe have him start maybe in the midsummer, but I could see him being called up later in September, getting his feet wet a little bit, starting next year at AAA, and then quickly getting the call up, kind of similar timeline as to what James Wood is on right now. But as we sit here today, Brady House has been killing the baseball this year. His exit velocities are up, and as we've seen over the last few games here, Brady House is starting to turn it around here. He is really starting to show that, number one, he's got raw power for days. And number two, he's got a little bit of a hit tool that I think is very much so slept on in this farm system. It might be a crazy thing to say, because I kind of just brushed aside that point there. I've always thought that Brady House, when he reaches the major leagues, and in about 5 years from now, we will be saying Brady House is the best overall hitter in this national system, as far aside as Dylan Cruz goes and James Wood as well. Again, you're probably thinking that is a crazy take to say. But at this point, I think Brady House will be that guy. Something about him just kind of turns me on with him. Or pause. That'll be clipped somewhere, I'm sure. Whatever. You guys can say what you want. But Brady House, I'm telling you right now, he will be one of the better Nationals prospects in the next few years. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, while you're at it, check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals. Hit that subscriber button for me as well. Next, let me tell you guys about the Red Sox series. We ship up to Boston. And of course, when we do that, I got to tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at Policygenius. And guys, Policygenius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace, and it saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. And of course, guys, Policygenius helps you compare your options for top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help you talk through it. And of course, talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. I've heard some audience members talk about why they love Policygenius and how quick and swifty they are with their responses and give the best advice out there. And of course, your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. That is why Policygenius is here for you. So check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. Now, let's tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at DoorDash. And guys, if you're talking about DoorDash, I want you to know that for this Mother's Day weekend, it is coming up here soon. Do you want to make mom smile? Then you start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brands she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. And moms are a gift, so give her the best this Mother's Day and get gifts as thoughtful as sending flowers, chocolates, whatever it is from your local convenience store. You want to make your mother feel special. And maybe mom has a sweet tooth, or maybe she just likes flowers, or a beauty connoisseur, whatever it may be. Send some stuff over from DoorDash, whether it's your local convenience store, maybe it's your local flower store, whatever it is, you could do it with our friends at DoorDash. So get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB. Ordering using DoorDash today. Terms to apply. Again, use code LOCKEDONMLB. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, the Nationals are getting shipped up to Boston tonight as they face on the Boston Red Sox up in Boston at Fenway Park. Number one, such a cool experience to go to Fenway Park. I cannot wait for this Nationals social team to get guys like Mitchell Parker and name those prospects Name all the young guys who have never been to Fenway Park. I cannot wait to see all their reactions. They step in, see the green monster for the first time, get to step in the box there, sign the pole, whatever it is. It's so cool. So I'm very excited for that. I'm sure all you Nationals fans are well, but this is not going to be an easy series. Again, I talked about it last week. The Red Sox have kind of outkicked their coverage, in my opinion, so far this season. They're 19-18, right around where the Nationals are. But you have Patrick Corbin going tonight. Again, Patrick Corbin on the bump tonight. Let's throw that ball away. Game 1, sorry. Patrick Corbin on the bump, we're good. But game 2, you have Jake Irvin on the bump going up against, well, they're pretty damn good pitcher. Cooper Criswell has kind of been one of their breakout pitchers so far this season. I don't really expect a bunch of great things from this Red Sox team, but one thing I do kind of expect is that they are a very scrappy offensive squad. And also, some of these guys have pitched very well considering all things here. Then on Sunday, you have MacKenzie Gore on the bump at Fenway. That'll probably be the game of the weekend. You're going to want to see him pitch. And of course, Jake Irvin on Saturday as well. But I'm just excited to go up to Boston, see the Red Sox, see Fenway Park, see what C.J. Abrams can do. And you know what? Maybe the Nationals luck their way into a few wins and get the series win. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Nats baseball. And don't forget, call up James Wood right now.